Okay, guys, here is your lab safety lecture. This document is uploaded in Blackboard, and these are just the rules that you need to follow when in the lab. I am very, very strict on these. Although everything you do is safe, the labs, there is always a risk, and the more safe you can be, the less risk there is. So first and foremost, you need to wear approved eye protection at all times. So you can purchase your own if you would like to. They're not very expensive, a couple of bucks. You can get them at Lowe's or Walmart or pretty much anywhere that has a hardware section. And if not, we have goggles that are in the lab that students can use in the drawers. But I don't know. For me personally, I'm just kind of squeamy about that. I don't like to use those because, other people use them and that's just me. But if you don't really care, that's fine. If you are like me, you can go ahead and buy your own. You just need to make sure that they cover the front, obviously, but also the sides of your eyes. Okay. So you must have eye protection at all times. It should be the first thing you do when you walk into the lab. If you should get chemicals into your eye for whatever reason, you need to wash with water from the sink or the eye wash station for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if you wear contacts, I recommend just not wearing contacts during lab if that's possible, if you have a spare pair of glasses. Most of our eyewear does fit over traditional glasses. For me, again, because of my face, I can't even wear my regular glasses right now. So hopefully after Monday, when I follow up, I'll be a little bit less large, and hopefully I'll be able to wear my eye protection. If not, I'm going to have to figure something out. But if you have contacts, remove them immediately if you get chemicals in your eye. In fact, you should be removing them as you're going to the eye wash station. If you lose them, you lose them. Sorry. You're going to have more things to worry about than lost or messed up contacts if you keep your contacts in and you get chemicals in your eye. Okay. Also, call me immediately, but don't call me before you start taking contact lenses out. Okay. All right. Second thing, perform no unauthorized experiments. Observe all the safety precautions that are presented in the experiment itself. If there's fire or accident, please call the instructor. I don't care how minor it is. We will go through the lab as to where the fire extinguishers are, the safety showers, the fire blankets, sand bucket, eye wash stations, first aid kit, et cetera, all the safety things. I'll walk you through that, excuse me, the first day of that we're actually like in the lab room. If you get anything corrosive on your skin, again, go immediately to the sink and wash for 15 to 20 minutes. It is not necessary to use soap. In fact, it is not recommended. Consistent running water for 15 to 20 minutes should fix most of the issues. By the way, as a side note to this, if you are allergic to latex, you're going to have to bring your own gloves. I'm pretty sure the gloves in the Beaufort campus are not latex free. That is not true for the Bluffton campus. We do have latex free in the Bluffton campus. I will double check, but if you have a latex issue, at least for the first lab, prepare on bringing your own gloves, and I'll work something out on getting those over in Beaufort. If you spill a chemical over a large part of your body, you need to get those clothes off and get under the shower. Trust me, you're not going to care if you have to go under the shower in the middle of lab because you've spilled something on the majority of your body. And I say that because the jars that are large enough to spill over a large portion of your body are highly caustic chemicals, the very high molarity chemicals. And they will almost instantaneously start to burn and corrode your skin. And a lot of people just think of this in terms of acids. High molarity bases are also just as caustic. Number 5, don't eat anything in the lab. No food or drinks are allowed to be brought into the lab, but also don't eat anything that you're working with. Every one of these rules have had to be written down for a reason, because that means somebody has done it. Okay. You may not eat anything in the lab, like bringing in your own food or drinks. You also may not smoke in the lab. That includes the e-cigs. Okay. Just a reminder, USCB is a smoke-free campus, so no smoking in the lab. Um, if you have like a drink, like, I have my reusable cup that I bring to class with me. If you have something like that, just leave it right outside the lab door. Nobody's going to mess with it. Everybody knows why they're there, and they're perfectly safe. You need to exercise great care when noting the odor of fumes and avoid breathing fumes in of any kind. When you're smelling things, you kind of want to use your hand to waft any smell towards you. Okay, you're not going to stick your nose in a test tube or a beaker and sniff in and try to smell it. Don't ever do that. Several of our reactions will produce toxic fumes, which means they need to be done under the hood during a reaction. And I would say most of our reactions are going to need to be done under the hood. The material safety data sheets, these describe the chemical characteristics, hazard levels, basically every information you need to know about every chemical that we have in the lab. In each lab, there are binders that contain all these MSDS sheets. The reality is that if there's an emergency, I'm going to Google it because I don't have time to be looking through 18 different binders that are in a cabinet somewhere. But we do have the material safety data sheets on, physically present in each lab. If a chemical cannot be disposed of in the garbage or down the drain, I'll give you specific information. Most of the time we will have a container for waste. We maintain an organic waste container and an inorganic waste container. It'll be very clear to you which one is which, and which container you need to use that particular day. Never, ever, 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 ever pour anything just down the sink if you've been told to put it in the waste container. If you break any glass, it happens every semester. Somebody breaks something. Just clean it up immediately with the broom and dustpan. Do not use your hands to sweep up broken glass. Note, I actually had to write in there, do not sweep broken glass with your hands because somebody has done it. Okay. These blue and white broken glass containers we actually don't have on campus. I'm working on getting those. So for right now, we're just using cardboard boxes, and I will point those out to you also when we figure out when I show you where all the equipment is for safety when we're in the lab next. Number 10, really, really, really important. Always add acid to water, never water to acid when you're diluting acids. Acid is always added to the water. The reason for this is because when you're adding the acid to water, if anything splashes up, what's going to splash up is going to be the water, not the acid. Never point a test tube towards yourself or anyone else. You need to treat it like a gun. You wouldn't point a gun at someone or yourself. Don't do it with a test tube. The reason for this is that when things are reacting, sometimes they can burst up and get you in the face. So just don't do it. They're clear. You can see what's happening on the inside. You don't need to look through the top. Number 12 and 13 are the things I am most strict about. Okay. If you have long hair, guys or girls, it needs to be up and in a hair tie. I recommend not even wearing hairspray, mousses, gels, any of that, because they are excessively flammable. And if we're using Bunsen burners, we wouldn't want any hair to go up in flames. I try really, really hard not to wear any product in my hair at all on lab day. For my type of hair, that's really difficult. But if you have long hair, and by long hair, I mean, I define that as if you could put it in a hair tie of any kind, it needs to be up in a hair tie of any kind as far as length. All right. Clothes. I do not require that you have lab coats. However, if you are not going to be wearing a lab coat, you need to have long sleeves at all times in lab. You need to have long pants. I don't recommend leggings. They're just not thick enough or protective enough. I recommend just wearing jeans in lab. You must have closed-toed shoes, no sandals, flip-flops, anything like that. Closed-toed shoes. So what I recommend is simply something just like sneakers, jeans, and a long sleeve shirt. If you're someone who commutes to campus and can't very easily go to your dorm and change, just keep a change of clothes in the car. And, for the whole semester, keep like one long sleeve shirt and a pair of jeans and sneakers in your car. And then if you wake up that morning, if you're running late, you always have what you need for lab. If you are not dressed appropriately, you will be not participating in lab that day, and you will not get your participatory points. 14, never work alone in the laboratory. I must be present at all times. So that means when you get there, and I'm not quite there yet, but the lab is open because somebody's in there working. We have a lot of researchers that work in the labs, and other professors that are doing different things. I don't care if anybody else is in there. If I'm not in there, you're not in there. You need to wait for me to get there to go into the lab. And then finally, organic chemicals are flammable and toxic. These need to be worked with under the hood. We need to take extra precaution to avoid ingesting. And by ingesting, I don't mean drinking. I mean, but even the fumes, you got to be really careful with that. So most organic chemicals that we will be working with are flammable, toxic, and need to be worked with under the hood when possible. For my organic people, when we are doing a lot of our organic reactions, most of them are in a closed container, so we're okay. When they're not in a closed container that they need to be done under the hood. Okay. They all need to be kept away from flammable substances because they are very flammable. I mean flames, not flammable substances. You know what I mean. Also, if you are pregnant or become pregnant, if you're in my organic class, you need to let me know because every single thing you will be dealing with is not safe for you. If you're in my 111 lab, and again, if you become pregnant or are pregnant, you need to just let your lab partners handle the organic compounds that particular day. Organic compounds are not good to be used in pregnant women. Okay? All right. Willful violation of any of the safety rules will result in immediate expulsion from the lab. Repeat violations will result in being removed from the class permanently. I will kick you out of the lab if you're willfully violating any safety rules more than once. If you get dropped from lab in 111, you get dropped from lecture. For organic, if you get dropped in lab, it's just for lab. Now, the safety quiz I'm going to put on Blackboard in a few minutes. And you have to have at least, it says 95%. Because your quiz is online, I'm changing that to 100%. So you need to have at least 100% to work in the lab. But you can retake the quiz as many times as you need. And it will be for a grade. You need to sign and return a copy of these. I want your name, your VIP number, your signature, and the date. I will keep a copy of this for the entire semester. If I don't have a copy of this on file, you will not be participating in lab until I do. Okay? So I always keep your lab safety quiz and this signed piece of paper on file throughout the entire semester. It is a contract you are signing with me about following safety rules in this course. If you have any questions about any of these, let me know. Again, these are up that you can review them. You can print them out. You can use them to study with for your quiz. Your quiz is a 20-question quiz, and it'll be put up today. All right, I will see you guys on Wednesday.